Every single one of you as a business owner brings a unique skill, expertise that you help your clients with. Today's question I want to ask you is what and how could you be more effective if you could apply your zone of genius to your own business more effectively? That's what we're going to be tackling on today's episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. I am an entrepreneur and I mentor other entrepreneurs, particularly creatives and consultants, to build scalable businesses by working on the foundations. My zone of genius is understanding the connection points that creates a predictable client growth path and a scalable and profitable business. That is understanding buyer behavior, understanding what marketing is all about, which is about sparking curiosity and creating movement, to connecting that to sales, which is what is the journey of an offer to a committed client, to acquisition, to a great onboarding and delivery experience. And throughout all of that, of course, it's the systems in the backbone that mean that you're not working 24/7, but you actually are creating the business that you want, the lifestyle that it supports. And so often there's a gap, and filling that gap and both supporting as a thinking partner and building the skills to have confidence to deliver is what I do really well. And I want to talk about this and how it shows up when I'm working with clients and how I found a solution to using my own best advice to be more effective in my business. Because chances are you're like me and every other business owner out there, you have blind spots. And the blind spots in your business cost you impact. They cost you income, they leave huge potential on the table, and you need a strategy to address those blind spots. And so that's what we're going to be doing in today's episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message. So often when I'm working with a B2B business owner, their goal line is scalable growth. And often that means retain clients, a clear pipeline of qualified leads, and we're working together to improve the client conversion rate, which means more people say yes, the effort is targeted, and we know exactly who we're calling. And every time we celebrate a new client coming into our business, it is an exciting new beginning. Why clients choose to work with me is because they have blind spots. When they are working, particularly on the creatives, on the marketing side, we get really focused on what we want to say. And whether that shows up in website copy, in the marketing assets, in videos, in webinars, and speaking topics that we create to be marketing tools, our agenda is what do we want to say? And we want to really explain, educate, and convince the audience that we're sparking awareness with, which is the goal, to see us as the must hire. And that sounds pretty normal, right? Like we've got an agenda. That's why we're investing. That's why we are setting out on a path, wanting to create the result. However, that is a complete and utter blind spot. And it's okay to start there from a thinking perspective, but the execution falls well short of potential if that's where you stay. Because the client or the potential client, the person in the audience, doesn't care why you exist. They don't care about the how in the early part of the client journey. And so you're entertaining, but I walk right past you. And that is why so many marketing tools, assets, and things that you put out there don't create the movement in your business that you seek. And simply staying in this place with this mentality is a huge blind spot. And that is why clients who've come to work with me, we work to educate and address this blind spot. We really shift what I do specifically with all of my expertise in the world of buying behavior that I acquired when I worked for Procter & Gamble and that I've spent years cultivating with other really well-known brands and businesses in the industry is this. I want to be looking through the lens when I'm working in a working session with a client. What does your client need to hear? What is the result they seek? And why is it an essential non-negotiable to acquire that value with you? And you see, that's a very different lens than the agenda of I've got something to say and I'm going to educate you and convince you, to changing the lens to what is on the other side. Because our goal in marketing, while we have an agenda as business owners, is a failing blind spot. What really matters to create predictable results is actually capturing their imagination, understanding what moves your potential client, understand the value they're seeking, and speaking in a language that captures curiosity. Because the result, if you're successful, is a well-qualified lead who moves from curious to a paid client. And so this is one of the key ways that I work with marketing elements with my clients. And on the sales side, which is another key component, you need to work with people who understand both marketing and sales, because they are connected and they are very different in terms of their focus, in terms of the foundational elements. So a second big component we're working with when I'm with clients is the selling process, the selling conversations, and the selling assets. And often clients will come to me to help them fine-tune their salesmanship, helping them to figure out what to say, who to say it to, how to say it. And like people in the marketing component or in that pillar and foundation, they oversell, they overtalk, they make it super complicated. There's a lot of fluff instead of shifting that lens with a thinking partner such as me to say, what do they need to hear? Why would this be important to them? What would you need to do to build confidence that you're the right person to help them get the result? Changing that lens, helping them rewrite a sales letter, an offer letter, to re-watch together, game day play, a sales conversation that's been recorded, helps them fine-tune their blind spot. What the result is that they are hugely more effective and they have an understanding of the buyer behavior that leads to more predictable results. What that means is client conversion rates go up. And so when I'm working with clients, it's about their blind spots. Often when we're in a growth phase, we want to throw a lot at the wall. We want to see what sticks. We really are trying to justify ourselves, even if we don't see that that's what we're doing. And having somebody in your life, a mentor with very strong buyer behavior skill sets, who connects marketing and sales and in operations to a predictable experience, can hugely accelerate your business. And I know that's one of the reasons why clients come to work with me. And clients can work with me in one of two ways. They can work with me in a mini session, in which case they might come to me just with one asset and say, help me take a look at this marketing material. Help me take a look at this sales letter. Help me look at this piece of copy. And we'll deconstruct it to pull out the fluff, to change the lens, to figure out not do you want to say, what do you want to say, but what do they need to hear to create the movement. If you can create the movement predictably, you will see more success. And we'll do that in a mini session with one targeted asset. Many clients, though, see that, wow, I might not need to do this once. I might need to do this often, because we're constantly putting new things into the marketplace. We're constantly fine-tuning our crafts. We're constantly identifying ways as B2B business owners we can create more value. And then how do I communicate this value? How do I deliver this value to create better decisions, more quickly move somebody from curiosity to paid client? And how do I own confidently my value as a business owner and get out of convincing mode into inspiration mode and move people to the yes? That's really a key skill to learn. That's what I do with my clients. And we can do that long-term under the Business Skill Accelerator program. That's a mentorship program. And I want to just share with you the insight, because as I said, you can't see your blind spots. And I know often when you're working with a mentor, there are options to do group programs. I want to just tell you something quite interesting. I have opted not to offer group programs this year. That is because right now I am seeing so many people say the group programs are failing them because they're not able to address their blind spots. They get lost in the theory and can't get enough support on the one-to-one in the fine-tuning of your specific tools to get the results. And because I've heard that in the marketplace, I've been researching it when I've been talking to people, I've opted to remove and postpone any group programs for the rest of the year to only offer one-to-one support, which means you're going to get the very best of me to help you move more quickly, whether you choose a one-off mini session or whether you are going to work with me on a committed long-term relationship. That is what you can do if you need help with your blind spot. And I said when we started today's episode, what would it be like in your business if you could effectively apply your best advice to your own business? I'm going to tell you it's game changing. And it is honestly one of the hardest things to do. And I know because it's hard for me. So I write all of my own copy. I write all of my own content. Why? Because I fundamentally believe if you want to do business with me, if you want to be a member who subscribes to this podcast, you want to see me. You want to understand how I think. And outsourcing my voice is just a hard no for me, a full-on pass. But when I'm writing my own material, I have blind spots. I can't see the forest for the trees. I only see what's in front of me. I only am really in the lane, in the mindset of what do I want to say to you? And I really struggle to remember, what do you need to hear? What do you need and seek? And how can I connect curiosity to create you movement towards me as seen as the must hire? And I know that that's a blind spot. And I know it's a blind spot because really often when I'm working with my clients and we have that real light bulb moment and we all go, wow, did we just blow each other's mind? Seeing something so clearly that we couldn't see before and going, that's it. That's the spark. That's the accelerator. Wow, let's blow that up and make it really big in the business. And guess what? We start to scale, create more value, and have a heck of a lot more fun. That moment of creative spark is so fun. I love it. Truthfully, though, in my own business, I struggle to do that on my own. But it always happens when I'm talking to someone else. And so I started to see a pattern in my own business where I would be working with clients and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I can't believe I don't do that really well in my own business, whether that's creating a content calendar, really dialing in those 4 pieces of content that build momentum. And there's a previous episode about 4 types of content. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go take a look for that episode. I look at those elements I work with my clients on and go, there's opportunity in my business to do that more effectively for myself. Take your own best advice, Christine. And chances are you can relate to this. And so I want to give you a strategy in this episode of how I've learned to do that. So I write my own copy, but I know I only see the forest and I sometimes lose sight of I only see the trees, I lose sight of the forest that's all around me. And so I have paid thinking partners in my life. I have a coach and I have a mastermind that I'm part of. And those are hugely important investments that really help me take my genius and not just do a great job applying it to my clients and build momentum for future client growth. I apply that genius to my own business and I do it in groups and thinking partner scenarios because I know that left to my own devices, I fall short of the potential. And to simply address this gap has been life-changing in my business. It has been hugely accelerating. So what I do now is I discipline myself to write the copy. If I'm thinking, where do I want to move somebody to? What is the lens that they need to hear? What is it that will spark their curiosity? What do the language pieces need to be? And how can I slow it down? That's the biggest challenge for me. How do I slow things down that they want to take the next one step, not the next 10 steps, the next 1 steps. And I write that and I draft it and then I bring it to my thinking partner. I chose a mentor specifically in my business who had similar skill sets to me, which sometimes people find surprising. I wanted somebody who already had the marketing and sales experience to fine tune my language, not to start me with ground zero as a skill, but to say, I get where you're coming from. Let's change the 1%. That 1% to me is the goal line. What am I missing? Take a fresh set of eyes. And then what we do, because we both have similar skill sets, is I also then take it to a mastermind with other B2B business owners. And I say, what do you see for a first impression? When you don't have the sales and marketing experience and you're just a new client who needs the support. What do you see? And there's always something, again, to fine tune. It's usually a piece in the dominoes that we've skipped, or we've moved past too quickly, or we got a little caught into jargon. Those two sounding boards help me raise my game. And that is a strategy now that I have a full notebook that whenever I'm writing copy, I'm like in my next session and I have a scheduled, committed partnership, I say, it's time to tackle that. And we don't leave the room, and we do a mix of both thinking and doing together until it's a great implementation. Because it isn't enough to live in the theory. You need somebody in your life who understands buying behavior, who understands marketing, who understands sales and can connect the two, and somebody who can help you lay foundations to apply your own best genius to your business. Because all of us are the same. We can give advice. We can see from perspective the gaps in somebody else's, i.e. our client's journey. And that's when we're great at this consistently. That's when clients say, I want to have a retained relationship with you. I want to be somebody who's committed to you long term. And you constantly create value. You're constantly seen as a fresh set of eyes. And it becomes the easy accelerator to the partnership. I want you to be thinking as you listen to this episode, who is in your inner circle? Do you have a mentor? Do you have other business owners who have really strong marketing and sales skills? It's not enough to just have somebody who's only got one, because they can make things great in one element, but your biggest catalyst for growth to scaling and amplifying your message is connecting the dots. And if you don't, I want to invite you to have a thinking partner. I want to invite you to consider me as your thinking partner if you are a service-based business who is ready for growth and who is willing to look in the dark and say, help me discover my blind spots. And once we've discovered them, stay in a place where you can say, let's work through them, because I want to raise my game that 1%. I want to get more visible. I want to move more quickly an audience from curious to being a paid client. I want to improve my client acquisition rate. And if that's the case, you want to reach out and have a conversation or explore more details of that mini session or the full business scale mentorship program on my website, www.christinecampbellrapin.com. And you're going to look under the coaching tab on the website, and there'll be an invitation to come up and connect to me. In that, we will have a discussion about what's the right fit for you. Where is the gap? Because here's what I love seeing with my clients. And this is an everyday experience with me. And that's why I know I have a zone of genius in it. It's shifting from, this is where we started. I know what I want to say. I know what I want to share, and I want to get into the how. And instead, they leave the room with a dialed in message, whether it's marketing or whether it's sales, or even whether it's a process in the back end of their business, saying, what does it need to be for the other side? What is the value we're creating? What is the result? And what is the language? And when we do that, guess what happens really predictably? And I said, I celebrate this every day in my business with my clients. Qualified leads, moving more quickly to a yes. People that are your dream client seeking you out and moving to the retained business. A business that moves from solid partnership to creating more value, which means more profit, more engagement, more referrals, and a heck of a lot of fun in that partnership. I dream of that for everybody who's listening to this podcast. Where are your blind spots? Let's have that conversation. This has been an episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message. I am your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. I'm the owner of Clear Acceleration. Again, if you want to understand where your blind spots are and you want to learn about my programs and services in terms of being a mentor to you as a B2B business owner, I want you to invite you to see www.christinecampbellrapin.com, and I want you to go under the coaching tab. Let's have a conversation. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Share it with your business peers. We're going to give you the roadmap to creating predictable client growth, to amplifying your message so you can create more impact, more income, and learn how to build better decisions that create the result you dream of in your business. We'll see you all on our next episode.